Week 17 rolls on here in the EPSL, and today I have the distinct privilege and opportunity to commentate on this matchup of De La Salle versus Lakewood. Now, if you're familiar with my body of work, you're probably asking yourself, doesn't this guy commentate for another team? And I do indeed. But today, De La Salle requested my presence as a color commentator, a guest of honor, if you will. I do have a great number of connections within the De La Salle program, so thrilled to be here with you all as we take a look at this beautiful day here at Lakewood High School. And I do have, it is very exciting for me to be able to commentate for a different school because it feels like my emotional investment is removed and I can actually be an unbiased commentator and enjoy this game right along with you all. So let's get into the game here. Had to think about what I was doing for just a second. De La Salle, kind of a miracle turnaround from last year, sitting at 10-4-1. Obviously, that tie looks very ugly on the record down below, but regardless, this is a team that we're talking about making a playoff run, and for so long, De La Salle has been considered, how do I put this nicely? De La Salle has been considered one of the less premier organizations in this league, and yet here they are having the season of their lives, and we'll talk about why at length as Lakewood gets their drive started with Nakai Owens, the superstar running back. Look at how productive his last outing was, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns on just 9 carries. So this guy is electric. Lakewood is going to look to get him involved early and often. The De La Salle defense obviously has to be keying on him. Beautiful throw and an acrobatic attempt at a catch over the middle there. Broken up on contact. I wasn't sure who that was. I do apologize in advance. I am familiar with a majority of the names on this team. But if I miss any, well, I have an excuse. And that is that I don't have the roster in front of me, but I have great intuition. First down Lakewood, they pick it up there on a nice little out route. That's exactly what you're looking for on 3rd and short, something manageable and on time to keep the chains moving. Blitz coming out here, pressure applied from De La Salle to no avail there. That one winds up incomplete, and we're going to run it back here, no gain. Beautiful field, no rain. Must be nice to play in dry, sunny weather. Downfield completion for Lakewood. Morris finds his man on the left sideline, the near sideline, and he's going to take that down to the 12-yard line. You can see him step up for half a second, pressure in his face. He delivered an absolute dart. Not sure who that is in coverage, but he looks like he has the drip to be a corner in this league, excuse me, for a long, long time. Didn't win that rep, though. Owens picks up 6 on first down. Modern day, I apologize. Boy, I wish this wasn't live. Jumbo look for Lakewood. They're going to throw a play action pass out of it. Great breakup from Perea. The first signs of life from a De La Salle defense that is now protecting its goal line. 3rd and 4 from the 6. Extending the play, gets rid of the ball, and we're likely going to see the field goal team here. So a great job to prevent further damage by this De La Salle defense. We do indeed see the field goal team come on out. Lakewood looking to put the first points of the game on the scoreboard, and they do. So Lakewood takes the opening kick, drives the length of the field, but only comes up with 3. Good things to take from that drive for both teams. Still feeling each other out here. And De La Salle looking to answer here on offense. Now, a lot of the time when we talk about De La Salle, we talk about their quarterback, Daniels Jr., obviously coming over from Centennial last year. Here are the numbers for him on the year: just over 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 picks. So all in all, it's not something that's going to set the world on fire. It's not something that's going to do a lot of self-harm, but I've got to say the two-glove look is an abomination. Early pressure from Lakewood. He does get rid of it. Daniels completes on the far sideline to Stewart, who will pick up 7. Nice job getting the ball out under duress. It's the handoff here to Barry, who powers through a tackler, picks up 2. He's still a yard short. Barry having a fantastic season, among the top running backs in the league. And for a guy that I think a lot of people were down on last year, for him to have such a great turnaround is kind of indicative of what the direction this team is going. And there's another big-time playmaker for De La Salle, the wide receiver, number 5, one of the best in the league, depends on who you ask, picking up a first down there. Shotgun look for De La Salle on 1st and 10, looking to cross into Lakewood territory. Santer short motion. And I apologize, that is not Santer. They target Volta, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. 2nd and 2. Either way, nice job holding on to the ball. Play action for Daniels, who immediately pulls it down and runs directly into the pressure. It was like he was looking for a defender to tackle him. Probably because he can't see out of that lineman face mask. Quad look left. Daniels to throw all day long. Floats one over the middle, tipped a number of times, and you thought that one was going to end up in the hands of a Lakewood defender. He was looking for Santer, who looked like he might have been quadruple covered on that play, and all 4 of those defenders touched the football at least one time. None of them caught it. Regardless, it's going to be punt time for De La Salle, and Lakewood is going to take back over. They have a chance to make this a 2-possession lead early in the first half here. 17 for a quarterback, I think, is an underrated number. That's just me as a commentator. Phillip Rivers, Jake Delhomme. A lot of our viewers won't know who Jake Delhomme is, but that's quite all right. Nice run there on 1st down. That's exactly what you want to do as far as keeping things manageable. I would have liked to see De La Salle get Barry a little bit more involved in their opening drive, as Owens picks up a 1st down. Great vision from him, kind of picking his way through, taking his time. Free safety Nick Wojo on the tackle, and he is beside himself that it's a 1st down. Can't believe it. Another give to Owens, and he's going to be brought down by McCarthy there. Linebacker has been a sure tackler this season, but another gain of 5, and right now the yards per carry looking pretty good for Owens. Completion over the middle. No one around him. Morris is closing in on 100 yards passing. We're not even out of the 1st quarter. Obviously, don't want to get too ahead of yourself. You know, we've seen crazy things happen in these games. But Perea can't believe it either. And it looked like they had 2 defenders, close to 3, covering the same zone. Probably comes down to coaching there, if I had to guess. Obviously, the De La Salle head coach still figuring things out here late in the year. And Wojo gets thrown on the ground. The free safety putting time out there as Owens turns what should have been a loss into a 3-yard gain. Play action for Morris, and he almost completes. Great timing there by Jacobs and Legault, the corner. Now that is drip right there. If you want to see cornerback drip, you take a look at Legault. That is exactly what it's supposed to look like. Plenty of pressure here from Morris. He tries to get rid of one on the move. I didn't see who applied the pressure, but It was enough to cause an incomplete pass, and now 4th down for Lakewood. So the De La Salle defense, the story of the first quarter, limiting the damage for this team, and that punt just a little bit away from them there. Let's take a look at Evan Santer. Obviously not behind by much in terms of receiving yards leaders. For the majority of the year, he has been the receiving yards leader, so to see him fall behind by just about 40 yards is a little bit shocking, but he has been quiet lately. Great play by the Lakewood defender there to jump in front of the man that we were talking about. He has been a little bit quiet lately. Now, there's been some debate as to whether or not that is quarterback play or maybe he's lost a step. He is getting a little bit older. DeVincent, the tight end, and he's also another really, really talented pass catcher on this team. Brings that one in for a 1st down. But I guess we'll find out. The jury's still out as far as his drop in production mid-season. Empty look here for Daniels after the 1st down completion. He gives a little pump fake and throws an interception. That was the same defender who jumped right in front of Santer on the last play, Michael Brown. An ill-advised throw, and Lakewood takes advantage. So both defenses kind of thriving early. Daniels with nothing but time, and it almost feels like he heard us talking about how Santer hasn't been involved. He tried to get him the ball in that earlier play, didn't work out, and he said, you know what, I'm going to do the same exact thing. There's no way they're going to see this coming, except that it was somewhat predictable and ended in an interception. So now Lakewood takes over in De La Salle territory. Immediate pressure off the edge there from Reed, who's going to end up with the sack, and that's exactly what you need if you're the De La Salle defense. Just what the doctor ordered. A loss of near 10 yards. And a big missed opportunity for Lakewood there on 1st down to get some momentum going. More pressure, another sack. This De La Salle defense is doing everything they can. Smith with one of his own. And what was the story of the first quarter is looking to turn into the story of the first half here for the De La Salle defense. Outstanding effort. This one will be complete. He's actually going to lose a few defenders, and if it wasn't for Legault's tackle, he might have turned what was 3rd and forever into a 1st down catch and run. But Lakewood prevents that. We're going to see the punt team from Lakewood once more, and that brings us to the end of the first quarter. So some early struggles for Daniels, but equally as many early struggles for this Lakewood offensive line, who's just getting beat like a drum here in that first quarter. Let's get back to it. We're going to start the second quarter with a punt from Lakewood, obviously looking to pin the De La Salle offense back deep. We'll see if they can do it. And somewhat similar to what we saw last time, punt gets away from him and into the back of the end zone, so Daniels back onto the field. Looking to atone for the mistake he made on that last drive. They're going to come out with a trips left. Press look applied by Lakewood. Beautiful throw there from Daniels. Kind of a back shoulder target there that ended perfectly in what would look like a press man defense from Lakewood. We'll take a look at it right here. Great location for the football in the place that only his receiver could get it, and a great effort to bring that one in. Quick 1st down there for De La Salle. Daniels out of the shotgun once more. He's going to motion Volta over and look to throw. Great, just as I was about to say, great protection. Spears lost control of his man there. It's going to end up as a sack, loss of 4. And the Lakewood defense says, anything you can do, we can also do. Maybe not better. Time will tell. So 2nd and long. And here's the give to Barry. And he is put down after a short gain of 2. But he sure does look good. One thing I gotta say that stands out to me about this De La Salle team is they all have a certain amount of drip, aside from their quarterback, Daniels, who, as I mention him, he lost one out of bounds on 3rd and long. And again, you gotta wonder if he can see with that face mask, not designed for a quarterback at least. And there we see why. Maybe a vision issue. But regardless, a punt from De La Salle, and Lakewood with an opportunity here, another one, to turn this lead into a 2-score lead. Kelvin Jenkins with some early success, almost to 100 yards on the day, and we are just getting started. So Lakewood taking back over. Obviously, they're one game below 500. And winning this one, great throw there, man. That was a layered throw over the middle of the field. A lot of quarterbacks struggle throwing over the middle of the field. But a nice job there. Looked like a man defense as well. So a quick first down for Lakewood, and maybe they've cracked the case here on the De La Salle defense, bringing pressure. Quarterback stands in, delivers, broken tackle. And this near sideline is going crazy here as Lakewood watches their guys turn what looked like it was going to be a sack into a big gain for this offense. Another first down. So back-to-back successful passing plays for Lakewood here. Play action. Open man in the flat. That's an easy pickup of 5, and that's exactly what you're looking for if you're an offensive coordinator. Let's do something that we know works. Let's do something that we can, it's going to keep us ahead of schedule here. Another look to the flat, and it looked like McCarthy was just barely in time to prevent a first down there. 3rd and inches. You got to be thinking this is field goal territory for Lakewood, so they do have the option to turn this into 4-down territory if they don't get it here. And this is going to depend on the spot. They're going to give him the forward progress. That's Jenkins again. So first down for Lakewood here. Kind of putting together a little bit of a drive. The Lakewood offense starting to look a little more in sync. Quarterback going to pull this one down, and he's got room. He turns this into a huge play down to the 6-yard line. And I think because he's Caucasian, they just figured he wouldn't pull the football down. But this is something that we've seen get a little more popular in the league, is these quarterbacks who can do it all, and he found a great opening there. And now Lakewood threatening. We've seen them actually at this down and distance before. They couldn't turn it into a touchdown then. They give to Owens here, and again, you know, he does a really nice job of turning that play into a net gain, right? That's a gain of 1, nothing crazy, but for a play that should have been stopped for a loss of 4, I mean, you're pretty happy with how that one ended. As I'm singing his praises, it looks like he gets a little turned around. He had a magnetic pull back to the other end of the field, and actually the end zone was in the opposite direction. So 3rd and goal for Lakewood. Trips left out of the shotgun. Owens going to motion out. This is going to be an empty look, and we've got a delay of game. Absolute rookie maneuver here from the Lakewood offense. Logan Morris runs out of time, and that's going to make this 3rd and goal a whole lot tougher. So from the 12-yard line now, and if you're a Lakewood fan, you're just hoping that he doesn't try to force something. He does take the underneath open throw. It's going to bring up another 4th and goal. So the De La Salle defense doing what they need to do, bend but don't break. And you're still looking at a 1-possession game. You know, your offense has struggled mightily here in this first half as we come towards halftime. There hasn't been a whole lot to be excited about offensively, but, you know, defensively, I mean, this could be a whole lot worse. So a great job by the De La Salle defense to keep their offense in the game here, and now Daniels with a chance before half to take the lead or cut into this Lakewood 6-point lead. De La Salle known as more of a second half team. And Barry only 2 carries, I believe. They're going to play action here. Daniels downfield, rips this one to Volta, who, I'm sorry, that's Stewart, my apologies, who ended up having it knocked out. Pretty athletic play there by the Lakewood defensive back. And we've got a second down, toss play, Barry. He tried to work through that tackle, but just couldn't do it. He's brought down behind the line, loss of 1. Toss plays not renowned for getting people loose in space, but here's this, I believe it's that quad look again. This one's going to be complete. Great read there, that's Stewart. Daniels was looking for him earlier in the drive, but he picks up a first down here, and De La Salle going to keep this drive moving. I believe that was that quads look. That's not something we see a ton of in the league, but De La Salle making it work to their advantage there. And fresh set of downs. This will begin with a handoff to Barry, and there's a great run. He picks up 9. And you want to see more of that if you're a fan of De La Salle. Obviously, with the 2-minute warning here, you're not going to see a ton of running. This is likely going to be an air it out scenario here for De La Salle, but Barry has done what he could when he's gotten his opportunities. Complete to DeVincent. What a great outlet he is to have. There's probably a number of quarterbacks who wish they had a tight end like Shane DeVincent. And this throw again for Santer, but Santer really hasn't been as open as you'd like for him to get those targets. It seems like Daniels is really trying to force the ball to 5, which I really can't blame him for. We've seen Santer just absolutely take over games, so if you have a weapon like that, you've got to just try and get him the ball. Great read there on the cover 2. Looked like that corner was playing a hard flat, and Stewart has been doing it all here for De La Salle in the first half. But a nice job from Daniels there to recognize the flat defender wasn't going to carry that seam and pick up a first down. Now, you know what? You're down, approaching the red area with a minute before half. And here's a strike over the middle that's almost picked off. Another tip drill for the Lakewood defense, and I can tell you what they're going to be practicing next week. It's going to be tipped interceptions. I promise you that. Second one that they could have capitalized on underneath completes a Santer here, and he just doesn't have a whole lot of room. Does a nice job to get 7 there. That's going to take us under a minute to go here in the first half of football. De La Salle threatening from the 13-yard line. Daniels to throw. Finds Santer underneath again, and maybe this is the formula. Maybe you stop trying to look downfield. You just find a way to get him the ball short and in space. Another throw. Daniels had a wide open touchdown to DeVincent. And he was hit as he threw. Couldn't get it out, but he saw it. I believe he was going that way. 2nd and goal. Under 30 seconds in the half now. Daniels to throw again. Middle. Who else? Stewart. De La Salle touchdown. And barring anything crazy on the extra point, they're going to look to take the lead here. So Daniels kind of redeems himself with the interception. Stewart just doing everything he can, picking up first downs, catching touchdowns. And the De La Salle defensive effort is finally answered by the offense. 7 points on the board for De La Salle. They take a 1-point lead with 20 seconds left in the half. A long drive there, 13-play drive. Long in terms of plays, not in terms of time. Obviously, they were in the hurry-up, so. Low-scoring affair here in the first half. The lead is 1 for De La Salle. We'll see what Lakewood wants to do just before the half here. Pretty good-looking return. They with 3 timeouts, it's a very real possibility that they put themselves in position for another field goal. Obviously, that depends on a few things, but certainly they have the opportunity to do so here. To throw on first down, that's going to be underneath. Bad pursuit, turns into a first down. And they're one play closer. 24 looked like he was ready to make a play, but just a bad angle there and a screen for Lakewood. Speaking of 24, he gets sent to the earth. And Owens on the screen picks up another first down, 7 seconds. This has got to be a quick play, but it's got to be at least 10 yards. Unless they go to the end zone. And that's really not what you wanted to see. Pressure applied there by the outside linebacker, Vasquez. He might have just, oh, I'm sorry. They believe their field goal kicker has the boot. And we'll see if he's got the length. Short and left, and that looked like it was short by a good margin. So really field goal attempt there, more for show towards the end of the half. But 7-6 halftime here in Lakewood. We're going to get right back into the third quarter here. These two teams pretty evenly matched from what we've seen so far. De La Salle receiving the second half kickoff, so they have a chance to put themselves ahead by a little bit more. Daniels kind of streaky there in the first half. He had a bad run. Ended on a high note, ended the first half on a high note, and looking to continue that momentum. I will say, if you're gonna get hot, that was a good time to do it. Daniels to throw. We've seen a lot of pass attempts as that one's complete. Way to bring that one in on the sideline. We've seen a lot of pass attempts from the single back out of this De La Salle offense. Not something you see a lot of in the league traditionally. I would say a lot of it is more done from shotgun and pistol. So De La Salle, one of the few teams that runs this quad formation, but also one of the few teams that throws 3-step passes from an under center formation. Daniels made it look pretty good on that play, and here's the give to Barry, who outruns his blocking. Man, he had some room. If he could have just waited for that block. As it is, picks up 4. From the shotgun, Daniels looks to throw. Blitz is on for Lakewood. They don't get there in time. Volta with the reception. And that's one thing I think Daniels has done extraordinarily well that is hard to do, is deliver the football in the face of pressure accurately. And another blitz comes out. And it looks, that's Volta again. He's got 3 straight completions. So Volta obviously the primary target when facing a blitz look here for this De La Salle offense, excuse me. Back to the single back formation. They do a great job of mixing up personnel. Here's a give to Barry, and he's got room, and he just kind of dances. You got to get north and south. Once he got past the line of scrimmage, he couldn't really make up his mind on where to go there. And if you're a young running back watching this game, my advice to you would be to come downhill hard. Barry does that here, and look at that's exactly what I was saying. Look at the result there. I mean, initial contact is made after maybe a pickup of 5 or 6, but because your momentum is carrying you forward, you turn it into a gain of 10 or 11. First down, De La Salle. This drive looking pretty good here. Daniels to throw again, and there's an out route complete to DeVincent. And the out route has been their friend, and now they're down to the 9-yard line. First and goal, De La Salle. Jumbo package, 1 receiver in the game, and a whole lot of big bodies up front. This one gonna go to Barry. He's got room, and he'll score another De La Salle touchdown. Drew Barry untouched, and the purple and gold on top by 8 now with the extra point. That's a great play call there. You load up one side of the line, super heavy look, and you run a stretch play to the weak side. That's so tough to defend. Great execution from De La Salle on that drive. And that just goes to show you the good teams in this league, they can start poorly and recover. So the momentum that De La Salle had going into the half is continued here on their first drive of the third quarter. De La Salle defense back onto the field. They have done their job with the exception of number 8 in white. But they have played well. Well enough to hold Lakewood to single digits there in the first half. Play action, big time pressure, and that's a great job to get rid of the ball before the sack came in. Now a pistol look for Lakewood here. And they might be looking Owens' way. A little read option, and that's actually a great read. Quarterback takes a lick at the end of that play. But a gain of 6, and that makes the third down manageable. We don't see a lot of successful read options at this level. Obviously, a nice job to turn that into a good one. 3rd and 4, complete, and that's going to be a first down and much more there. So Lakewood trying to answer that touchdown drive from De La Salle. They have not had a touchdown drive of their own. Looks like guys open pretty much all over the field there. McCarthy in coverage. Couldn't make the play. He does make the tackle. Here's a look at D'Amico Ryans. The NFL got a little bit too easy for him, so he decided to come here to Lakewood High School. And there's a give to Owens, who picks up 4. And it seems like every time he gets the ball, he's good for 4 yards. 4 or 5. They'll go right into an empty look off of the first down running play. Oh my goodness, underneath throw, absolutely airmailed. And I thought that ball was going to get picked off. But if you're throwing towards the free safety's direction, you're safe. You know, that ball is not getting intercepted. I think you'll be okay if you throw at number 8. Speaking of complete to the flat, Nick Wojo prevents the first down, and that's probably going to end the drive. Pretty poor tackling form there, though, if we are going to run that one back in film. You know, if you take a look at that play, I'm sure the De La Salle coaching staff won't be too happy about the way that, almost an outstanding punt, about the way that the Nick Wojo ended that drive. Not very good tackling form, and you can see why there's so many broken tackles when he attempts to make a play. Obviously, you know, he made that one there. Credit to him. So 1st and 10, and De La Salle now really looking to continue this wave. Deep throw, complete. Santer downfield. Acrobatic catch, and Daniels is not afraid to really just deliver a strike there. He said, you know what, I got one-on-one coverage with my superstar receiver. I'm going to put it up there. And a great job by 5 to bring that one down. And this is what I'm talking about. You know, this De La Salle offense has weapons. Stewart in the first half, and now obviously getting Santer going is huge for this team. Any one of these guys can take over a game. Daniels to throw again, and I mean, on command, a diving effort from Volta to pick up another first down. For starting slow, you know, these guys really have done a nice job recovering. And we talk about the pass catchers, as Volta does a great job of hanging on, making a few guys miss. There it is right there. I mean, you turn something into a first down that, you know, maybe was a 4 or 5 yard gain. Barry did it earlier. These guys are so good. Speaking of Barry, here's a handoff to him. And he's going to put the ball on the turf. Lakewood says they have it, and they do. A disastrous fumble for Drew Barry. Maybe somewhat of a commentator's curse. I was just about to say what a nice job he's done holding on to the football, something that we saw a lot of last year is him kind of losing control of it there, and that's the last thing the De La Salle fans and players wanted to see, especially with how well the passing game has been going. as of late, but Lakewood, you know, they're only going to get so many chances here. We're closing in on the end of the third quarter. Obviously, this is a big drive here. You haven't scored a touchdown all day. Quick screen to Owens. That's a nice way to get him involved in the passing game. You haven't scored a touchdown all day. Your defense has done a good job. I mean, they've given you 2 turnovers, the interception earlier and then the fumble here. So you've got to at some point play complementary football. We talk about that all the time, but that is how you're going to win in this league. Here's a give to Owens, and he'll be stood up. We do have a flag down. Let's see what this is. And it is going to be a hold against Lakewood. Don't see much of that. But it turns a, no gain into a loss here. They go back to Owens again, and nice job by the De La Salle defense. They have contained him well, averaging just 3 yards per carry on 10 attempts. So another third down here for Lakewood, deep in their own territory. That's going to be Owens in motion. And it's going to be another screen. That's the second screen they've thrown out of that formation. Watson with the tackle before picking up enough for the first down. So Lakewood likely going to punt again. De La Salle defense doing their thing right when they needed to. And they've really been doing their thing pretty much all game here. So Daniels back onto the field. Here's a look at his stats today. 244, 1 touchdown. Obviously, he had the interception earlier, but he's done a nice job bouncing back, and a touchdown here would go a long way to sealing this thing for De La Salle. Just too many weapons on this field. Play action. Daniels to throw, and he completes to Volta, who's all alone, making guys miss down the sideline. A gain of almost 50 yards. Volta having a great game. Stewart having a great game as well. But man, you got to think, and that'll probably be the story of this game, is the missed opportunities for Lakewood. As it stands right now, De La Salle threatening to score again. And I'm not going to lie, their offense does look to be in postseason form. Even if you start slow, you want to be able to build. Complete to Santer underneath. You want to be able to build as the game progresses. They've done a nice job of doing that, getting plenty of receivers involved, spreading the ball around. And if it weren't for that fumble, a little RPO here, trying to get it to Santer, who looks to truck somebody, which with his frame is quite a surprise, but clearly doesn't break that tackle. 3rd and 6 for De La Salle. Another RPO, Santer again. He does break a tackle, turns that one into a first down. So the extra effort there from Santer gives De La Salle a first down inside the 10-yard line. Breaking tackles. We saw Volta break some tackles earlier, and that's a great read from Daniels. He saw that Santer had a little bit of room, trusted him to do his thing. And while I'm watching this game, it just looks like De La Salle wants it more than Lakewood does. These offensive players and defensive players for De La Salle are playing with so much effort. There's a throw towards the back of the end zone, and that's going to be a touchdown for Evan Santer. I thought that was going to be intercepted. Defender had his back turned, never saw the ball. I'm not sure about the decision. Obviously, it ends up as a touchdown, but great job from Santer to maintain possession there. Oh, this will be reviewed, obviously. I do think that this will end up being a De La Salle touchdown, but man, the trust. Oh, let's take a look at this, actually. His feet might have came off the ground. It all depends on, obviously, when the catch is considered to be made. And it looks like they will give it to him. So that will end up being a touchdown for De La Salle, but the trust that Daniels has in Santer, evident there. I mean, that looked almost completely covered to me, but obviously that's why I am not a quarterback. That's why I'm up here in the booth. 21-6, so De La Salle does a nice job of distancing themselves here in the final quarter. Probably going to be the nail in the coffin, but you know, crazier things have happened. I would say if Lakewood had been a little bit more dynamic offensively, I would say there's more of a chance. That one almost intercepted by Lakewood, who's had a great day. Made a few really key tackles, a few PBUs. That's his second one there. So now second down for Lakewood. Just a bad throw there at the feet of the Lakewood receiver. And man, you got to think if he puts that on him, that's probably a catch and a broken tackle and a first down at the very least. But Lakewood still firing here. Downfield complete. Man, almost a prayer. 32 as a receiver for, or I'm sorry, 32 as a number for a receiver is a little bit heinous, but he does come up with that catch. The contact there from the other DeVincent, that looks like DeVincent brother, DeVincent family representing De La Salle here. So a first down on the run completion for back-to-back first downs. Legault with the tackle. And Lakewood, their problem hasn't been moving the ball. They've moved, you know, within the 10-yard line a couple of times as that throw was into some traffic there. Covered receiver, never really had a chance. They've moved the ball, you know, within the 10-yard line a couple times, but just haven't been able to turn them into touchdowns. And you got to think that's starting to hurt them here, as that throw looked like it was more at McCarthy than it was the Lakewood receiver. But there's a reason he plays linebacker, and it's on display right there. Scrambling, trying to turn something into nothing. I don't love that stack formation. It hasn't been great for Lakewood. It looked like they threw primarily screens out of it, but the sack there by Vasquez going to end the drive. Well, I'm sorry, they'll probably go for it, actually. Nice job by Vasquez, though, to not let the quarterback extend the play. They are going to punt. That is surprising. You know, you're down a couple of scores here. You're in the back half almost of the fourth quarter, so you got to think you're not going to get many more opportunities. I guess they trust their defense to slow down this dynamic De La Salle offense. As we take a look at Daniels, there's the touchdown to Santer. Earlier one to Stewart. Nice job holding on there as he was getting hit. So a lot more good than bad, I would say, for the De La Salle offense. Obviously, start was a little shaky, but they have since rectified that situation. And now they're just looking to close it out here. Read option for Daniels, who's got nothing but room. Big gain there on the option play, and he wasn't moving super quick, but that's a well-designed play. And a nice job by Daniels to pick up a good amount of yards there. Santer, short motion, shotgun look, play action draw, a lot of movement from this offense. Daniels going to pull it down once more. Defenders giving chase. He pulls up and slides short of the sticks after a gain of 8. So Daniels a threat to run. Maybe not a Lamar Jackson threat to run, but he can scoot. Another flag down. This is going to be a false start penalty on De La Salle. So that turns the second down into a 2nd and 7. Another shotgun look here for Daniels after the penalty. He's going to throw, and that out route has been money. That's got to be the 3rd or 4th time we've seen it today. DeVincent and Daniels on the same page there, and the chemistry with these pass catchers and this quarterback is evident with this team. You know, they have worked really hard to get on the same page this year. as Barry picks up 1 through the middle. And it shows. I think there's a lot of trust that Daniels places in these receivers, putting with the back shoulder fades. That's all completely timing. Downfield there is Volta, who just beat his man. And as I was talking about back shoulder, Daniels puts one over the shoulder of Volta, who comes down with it. Big time gain there, and that's the strength of this De La Salle offense, is to pick up yards in bunches quickly, flip the field, put themselves in a position to score points. Obviously, Lakewood not among the best defenses in the league, but they have done what they needed to, as Stewart is going to catch another touchdown. And that one's going to all but do it here for De La Salle. Impressive offensive performance outside of the first quarter for De La Salle. And all of these guys have done an amazing job today. I mean, Santer, Volta, Stewart have all done their part. And a big shout out to Daniels as well. His 3rd touchdown of the day. I believe he's over 300 yards. And De La Salle looking dominant. Pretty crisp here in the second half and beyond. As now you really start to turn towards, obviously week 18, yes, but more so for De La Salle. After this game, they'll be 11-4-1. Among the better teams in the NFC. And for them, I'm sure, they're going to be looking towards the postseason. Off the top of my head, I don't know what seed they are or who potential matchups might be, but I think this is a team that people should be looking out for when it comes to the playoffs. Obviously, some great teams in that conference. It should be an absolute movie of a postseason this year. Especially in the NFC, there are some real contenders. So De La Salle, I do consider to be one of them. Now, I would say they're on the lower end of the contender spectrum, if you will. It is all a spectrum. Pressure there turns into a big sack for Smith. And a day that Lakewood has struggled. They just really haven't been able to get anything going. Downfield throw, as I say that. Big time pickup, and now they're starting to move the football. No points since that. And that's Lakewood on the interception. A poor throw, and Lakewood takes advantage. We've been talking about him all day long, and he puts the exclamation mark on an incredible effort today. Ryan Lakewood saw that was a corner route all the way, steps in front. De La Salle unchallenged since the first quarter in this game, and what an amazing job from the De La Salle defense. We talk a lot about the plays that some of these receivers have made as you take a look at a few of them here, but I gotta say this defense has really impressed me. The pressure, Vasquez with his effort rushing the passer. The interception there, obviously, for Lakewood. But their ability to prevent Lakewood from converting these drives into touchdowns was really what, at the start of this game, kept them in the game. But now it's what has made the difference. But Ryan Lakewood single-handedly putting an end to this one here. Obviously a team effort from both sides of the ball for De La Salle today. Really impressive victory. And this is what you want to see. If you're, as Barry gets loose here, made sure to put 2 hands on the football that time. But a great run. And he's had a good day as well. I would say when this team is firing on all cylinders, like as you saw today, they're a tough team to beat. There aren't a lot of teams that we point to and we say, well, if the conditions are right, these guys can make a run, and this is one of them. I think there is a clear separation of the elite teams and then teams like De La Salle who, you know, it's got to be their day, obviously, but it can happen. All right, that's all I'm trying to say. It can definitely happen. They could find themselves in the NFC Championship. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but they could win some playoff games. As they run out the time here, 28-6 going to be your final from Lakewood. An all-around team victory. Defense helping out the offense in the first half, and the offense making the most of their opportunities in the second half. Volta, what a tackle breaker he is from the receiver position. But it's been an absolute joy. We're going to take a look at some stats to kind of tell you the story of the game, and number 11 in white is a big part of that story. 2 touchdowns on the day for him, 3 total for the quarterback, Daniels Jr. But the most important stat is the victory here for De La Salle. Obviously, Logan Morris, no touchdowns on the day. And that's a big part of success in this league, is limiting points. De La Salle did a great job of that. Here's a look at Daniels, almost 400 yards passing. He took some shots downfield. That was a lot of fun to watch. 376, 3 touchdowns to 1 pick, but a great QBR of 127. Rushing-wise, Daniels did have a few runs there. 2 for 29. Barry, 14 for 67 and a touchdown. Obviously the fumble, but that's a great average and a touchdown as well. Volta, an absolute monster game, and a lot of this came after the catch. If you look at his totals, that comes from broken tackles. 8 for 154. No touchdowns, but the primary, obviously the primary yardage guy today, followed by Santer, who's just a weapon. Tough to stop. 86 yards and a touchdown. Stewart as well, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really, really great job. And then DeVincent, 5 for 52. Not a bad day by any means, but when you have these weapons at the receiver position, it's tough. It is tough. Blocking wise, number of pancakes for Andrew Allen, and another couple of De La Salle players. Tackles, we'll start it off with total. Evan McCarthy with 7, Legote 6, and others contributing down here as well. Tackle for loss leaders, Miles Smith, he had a few sacks. There it is, 2 of them. Caden Vasquez in the backfield as well. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. McCarthy with a tackle for loss. Junior Reed with a tackle for loss and a sack. And these are the contributions in my mind that really just make a difference in a football game. The tackles for loss, the sacks, the interception from Legote. The defense did such a nice job of playing a complete game and turning this one into a De La Salle victory. Well, until next time, I don't know when that'll be, but it has been an absolute pleasure calling this game. De La Salle comes out on top 28-6. I will see you when I see you. Postseason coming up.